This is another exciting episode of Career 360 Show where we are tackling very impactful real issues that impact our communities, our careers, and our personal developments. I'm your host, Nicholas Sauke. Now, we are diving in to discuss very productive topic of our hearts, and that is youth and the church. Of course, a population that is very integral in the society. The world that we live in, many young people questions about their mandates and their core responsibilities in the church. Some feel so disconnected, and others feel so much actively engaged, and they discover their purpose. But what is really happening in this advancing technology? And where, of course, some young people feel so much the church is not for them. Others feel also very transformatively renewed in the church. We want to discuss this. Now, to help us impact all these productive conversations, we are privileged to have our esteemed guest, and that's none other than Reverend Odongo. Of course, we'll give him very productive opportunity about himself. He's a seasoned minister and, of course, a pastor, a religious leader, and also a mentor who actually, in his years, he's spent many of his years in guiding young people in faith, leadership, and even different religious institutions. Now, we would want to get into the segments of discussing this topic, but before then, you can participate in these conversations by keying in your comments into the comment sections in our social media handles and tell us what you think and perhaps what you do think about youth's mandates to the church today. Thank you so much for joining us in this session. It's great to have you. And I remember years I talked to you last, and we are grateful that you connect together with us again. You can introduce yourself to our guests.
Thank you once again, Dr. for having me in this wonderful telecast station, and thank you for the invite. Welcome our viewers, and I just want to encourage us to keep on logging in. I'm Reverend Theonest Ernest Odongo. I serve God with the Redeemed Gospel Church in a place called Utawala. That is Embakasi East, a place, an area called MC, and our church is located in Amber Court, and that's where we are serving God. And I'm married to one female wife, the Sugar Cappuccino Coffee, the spirit governor of my heart, a wife but not a nephew. It's good to know that. And God bless you. I just want to take this opportunity to tell you, stay tuned. God bless you.
Thank you. That has summarized the whole of the introduction.
Yes.
I remember when you talked about Cappuccino Coffee.
Yes.
I was doing a research about that name. It is deeper, and I'm telling you, it's very much deeper. And thank you so much for the sacrifice, of course, you've demonstrated in terms of mentorship, development, and also participate in terms of being a community leader. It's not easy.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing. It is a calling.
It's a calling.
It is a calling because anything that you do behind a calling, it's slavery. So this is a calling.
I love that statement. That statement is very striking. Yeah. Now, getting back to our productive conversations today, we would wish to really focus on youth and the church.
Sure.
Now, in your practical experience in the ministry or in the community service, how does the youth view the church?
I can say it is a mixed reaction. Mm-hmm. It is a mixed reaction. Mostly with the I call it the digital generation. Mm-hmm. We call them the Gen Zs and ABCD. Mm-hmm. And I've come to realize that there is a gap that we need to bridge. Mm-hmm. Because may I begin with this? When was it? Last week we met as a South Nairobi South region. Redeemed Gospel Church pastors, and we were over 300 pastors. And our bishop asked a question. I want to see pastors, youth pastors who are as young as 35 downwards. Guess what? There were only three. Three.
Out of 300.
Yes, so there is a need. There is a gap.
Lord.
There is a gap. So when you send this to me, I say this is the right one. Yes. There is a gap with the generation that we are handling today. Yes. So we need to do something as a church.
That is drawing a great concern. In a gathering of 300 church leaders, we can only identify only 3 under the categories of young people.
Yes.
Now, what drives into your minds in that observation?
To my observation, I said there's something we are missing. And what are we missing? It's mentorship. But the mentorship, it involves parenting, which is sonship and fathership or daughtership and mothership. So I think if we can bridge the gap, we will do it.
Now, there's something that cannot escape my attention, Pastor. Now, 3 young people out of 300 church leaders in a gathering.
Yes.
Now that means all other leaders are under the categories of above 35.
Above 35. And
does it mean that young people are fearful to join ministry?
There are those who fear. And may I quote this? It came from my spiritual father, Bishop Brown Chapaseki. He mentioned something that really struck. It was like a joke when he brought it, but to me, I took it serious. He mentioned something: when you find yourself as a preacher, you have begun to use glasses to read. Know that you
I don't want a glass right now.
Yes. Anytime you begin to see yourself using glasses, know that you are almost there. And may I add, this is mine. Anytime you see yourself as a preacher, and there is a certain message that you like to preach everywhere you are going right now, know that you are retiring. There is maybe 3 messages that you have remained with. Everywhere you go, that message you have to preach. Know that there is. Now, to answer that question, it was a concern, and we asked ourselves, what is happening? And will there be a church tomorrow after us? That is a question that we need to answer.
What is your answer?
Now, if we continue that way, there will never be a church.
There is no church.
We might be going the Western way. But we thank God that we have many youths in the church, but now involving them in the work.
A sense of engagement.
Yes. We have to engage them. We have now to begin to actually bring in pastors, youth pastors who will take over from us. And that's why we see God telling Elijah, go and anoint Elisha to take over from you. So we have to begin to mentor. We should not fear to raise them to become pastors, youth pastors. Let's send them out there and let's involve them in what we are doing. It's not that there are no youths in the church, but also we are dealing with a critical generation. Sometimes the church, they take the church casually. We are surviving because when we were mentored, we were willing to be mentored. The majority of them, they have what I call casual salvation. Yes.
Well, that's true. Okay, that's getting deeper. I think this conversation very much is striking. Now, you're watching Career 360 show here at the Scope TV. You can always join the engagements and of course, our conversations about youth and the church in the comment section. You can do a comment. Tell us what you think about church engagement, about youth engagements in the church. And at the same time, you can always subscribe and also share our page. And so this page can be productively a blessing to so many who would wish to watch it. We're getting back this segment.
Yes.
It's very interesting. And of course, we tend to feel there is a disconnect.
There is.
What could be your observation?
Now, my observation, we are lacking fathers, and vice versa, we are lacking sons.
We lack sons and we lack fathers.
I think we have to overcome the spirit of uncle and nephew in the church. Uncles, they are good,
yes,
but the spirit behind it, we have to overcome it.
You have to overcome it.
As a father, I need to be a father to the sons. But if I deal with them as if I'm dealing with the nephews, they will deal with me as if they are dealing with an uncle.
So we need to really change our model.
Yes. And another thing, we need to admit and agree that life is lived in levels and experienced in seasons. So meaning the seasons we are in, levels have changed. And the way we used to do church, I think there are things we don't need to change, but we have to add value in what we are.
Value additions. In terms of the traditional systems.
Yes, we just need to add value. What they did. Because remember, we were just raised in those times. But to our generation now, they call us analog. So what do? We add value. We used to have analog televisions. But what did the government do? It added value for it to be digital. But we are still watching TVs.
Yes.
So they just added value from analog to digital. So we have to do something. We have to add value in how we would do things before and how we will do it to reach them. Yes.
Now, that's very much, of course, that's very interesting. But help me to understand this. Which kind of method or approaches can we adopt in order to increase youth engagement in the church?
Yeah, thank you. That's a good question. Number one, when I'm talking about adding value, let's remember it is not diluting the gospel. We are not going to dilute the gospel. It will remain the same yesterday, today, and forever. Russians, we have to preach it, no matter whether they will get it or not. But it's better we introduce activities that are able to catch them, to bring them. Let's introduce things that they will feel a sense of belonging to what we are doing.
Example?
And now, I used to go to a church where we will sing hymns, and for your information, I was raised in Pefa Church, which they use the drum, kadundu, the drum, and it was good. But when I came to Nairobi, I understood there is another drum, which is a drum set. It's a drum. Yes, this one you hang it, but this one they are there, and there is a keyboard. So now I enjoy this one. So because of this new one, it made me to actually enjoy, because one of the things that I also do, I'm a praise and worshiper. So I used to sing there, But it became more interesting when I see drums, saxophones, and keyboards. So it would just make me to go there when I see somebody playing the guitar. But now, if I bring a church right now with the Kadundu here, and I want the youth, our son who is now almost 20 years, I tell him, now this is what we used to do, I will not be able to do that. So I need to bring in what they feel they will be able to cope up with. So come up with the ideas that the technology is also helping in the church. For instance, let me just, we are talking right now, I'm preaching in the media. Before COVID, if you would have told a pastor you can do live coverage and you can do live streaming, even other people can follow you from home, we will argue on that, because we wanted people to be present in the church. But when the live coverage came, when we embraced, we are still able to reach people who are outside there. I remember my spiritual father, they were having revivals and I really wanted to attend, and I was outside Kenya. So what did I do? I would just log in when they are on live service, and I will be following the service as if I'm present. So we need to actually embrace the technology and marry the technology with the church and blend. What can we use that adds value? What can we subtract that does not add value? Because it's not every technology that adds value in the church thing. These are two parallel lines.
So the youth much have adopted the hybrid system, and
Exactly.
that is the digital system.
Yes.
And they feel that this generation has shifted to much on the digital era.
Yes.
And so they would want the church to operate in the digital dispensation so that they can really adapt.
Yes, and that's where I'm categorical here that we should not dilute.
The
Because
standards should be kept.
we are the light. We are the light. We are the role model. Right now, or some other, I don't want to name the TV station, they bring 10 over 10. Okay?
Yes.
10 over 10. Now, right now, where we are here, we are preaching
Yeah.
and we are reaching people. So what am I trying to say? Can we try to reach them where they are able and not dilute the gospel? You know what is lacking in the youth today? The levels of purity and righteousness. They are in the church. Actually, the highest percentage of a church today in Nairobi, they are youths. You bring in music and the good instruments, they will be there. They dance, they do. But now, while they are dancing, let's make sure that the true gospel, the gospel of righteousness, the gospel of purity. I was saying this, during our time, and you will agree with me, when you are courting your wife, we will be told, listen, this book, no opening it, hiyo package utafumilia, vile utaipata huko mbele, ndio utaipata.
Yes.
And it was nothing to us.
Yes.
But right now, you reach out to a youth, you are telling them, look, when you want to marry, wait on the Lord, hii package utaifungua huko. Wanakuambia hii gari ni lazima nipeleke road test, nijue clutch kama inafanya kazi. So the standards, we should not compromise the standards. Yes. But bringing this, it will be a tool to reach them, and then we now direct them, because there is nothing that has changed to say ni digital, so wokovu ni diluted. No.
Now that brings me another segment of that strike deeply in my mind.
Yes.
Now, what are some of the misconceptions older generations have against young people? There are a lot of misconceptions.
There are a lot.
There are a lot of, like now in other churches, of course, in some our religious institutions, would say youths are immoral people. We see, just such kind of conceptions.
No, let's not call them.
No, I was just giving an example.
Yes,
of course.
Listen, they are remnants.
Yes.
They are remnants. It is happening. It is happening. You know, we are also marriage counselors. And right now, let me just take you back a bit during COVID. COVID, we have children who've been born with the underage and the youths prematurely. So you see, when that happens to a church, and this man, let me call is our analog. As we knew, when you want to marry, you have to wait on the Lord, and anytime someone will conceive in a manner that is not open, we will consider you. So it's not that they are not right. It's based from where we are coming from.
Yes.
Yeah, Daktari, you will agree with me when you are courting your wife. Even praying together, holding hands, it will be, we were raised from that. We can't deny it. Okay? So there is a perspective that we look at the things. There is an angle that we look at things. So when we look at those things, we will always judge them based on the angle we are looking at.
Look, just hold on a little bit. You will agree with me. A great percentage of young people feel misjudged in church.
It is true.
Let me give you a typical example. We had another young man, very skilled young man here. He was deeply born again, very skilled in playing instruments. He was also skilled in singing, doing well in the ministry church. But he felt that this is not the best place for me because of the judgmental attitude. He left, got himself into Ohangla field. He adopted the skills of singing Ohangla. He is one of the best singers of Ohangla now. And what did he say? I found a home in Ohangla platforms more than the church.
Wow. But do you know, the youths today, they don't know how to differentiate between rebuke
and judgment.
And judgment.
Yes.
So that one also should be taught. I was preaching in a conference and I told people, the best church that I would rather go if I'm a member is a church that I can be rebuked. And it's not only the youths. We have rebuked even old people with gray hair like mine. And they have left the church because we are judging them. Let me give you a story a bit as we continue. I had an elder some time back. By then, he was actually the well-to-do elder. His tithe will take us far. And he was married. I knew him with one wife. Then, at some point, he didn't have a job. Prayed with him. He got a job with education, Ministry of Education. And his salary was good, over 300,000. And before I knew it, the man brought in another woman, kept the woman in Kayole. The other woman was in Utawala. Now, the wife came and reported to me as a pastor, you are so and so elder has married another woman. As a pastor, our belief does not encourage that. So I called the man and I told him, this is what I've heard from your wife. I didn't actually hide him. That you have another woman whom you have brought in your life. And he said, it is true, Pastor. And I said, why? He told me that the wife's hands are okay. The wife cannot handle wealth. The wife. So she got someone who is able to handle. In Swahili, alisema mke wangu mikono yake haijui kutunza kutunza pesa.
The wife has a black card.
Yes. Now, this man was a giver, remember, and he was a leader. And what did I tell him? I told him, what you have done, number one, you've just signed a resignation that you are no longer a leader in this church. And do you know what he told me? He told me, Pastor, but do you know the consequences of this? Meaning, you know I've been giving. So if you
will withdraw.
I will withdraw. Now, that was rebuke. It was not judgment. I was rebuking because I would have not worked with an elder who has married a second
wife.
Not wife. Those are animals. They are considered that. You know, the Bible says that Abraham, the animals will pass until they created a suitable helper. So all these others are animals. So the point is, that was not a wife. The wife was this. It's not a second wife. He was married another animal.
Yes.
An elephant, a zebra, yes. Now, the question is this. This man, when I rebuked him, do you know what he did? He left the wife. He changed the church. And he was embraced. Because he had money.
Now he stopped supporting the church. He got married to another woman.
Yes, he left the wife. To cut the story short, the job was the job was finished, and the woman who knew how to keep money picked everything plus the money in the bank account and left. And she came back to the one who didn't know how to, but it couldn't work. Okay, I'm sorry on that. My point is this. Number one, before we judge, because I think sometimes I say there are all kind of believers. They just want a reason to live. So this guy, I can say he was not a Ruth kind of member. He was Orpah, who will just go to Hangla. But as we were rebuked, I'm telling you, if I tell you as a youth what I went through, even you sometimes you will be rebuked.
Yes.
And did you leave your father because he rebuked you?
No.
You remained there and you will learn. Me, I remember my spiritual father will rebuke me sometimes. I've sung and he's asking me, how did you perform? And you know, I am praising myself and said, you didn't do best. And I didn't leave because they want me to be better.
All right.
So I can say there are people genuinely. But right now, for instance, as much as you are a doctor, you are also a man of God. How many people have you collided with in the ministry? Did you leave the ministry and say, I'm going to devil worship?
No.
So that is immaturity.
That's great. Now, it is very much, again, to understand the challenges, of course, that our youths are facing. Now, what are some of these main struggles young people face, of course, when we are engaging them in the church?
Now, based on the challenges that we are going through, actually, what we are seeing reflecting up there in the government is what is eating the church. Now, joblessness. Unemployment. If we don't address that,
great challenge.
It's a great challenge, and it's affecting these people, even in the church. Actually, let me put it this way: what is being reflected up there begins from the family level, the church, and then the nation. So if we don't address, because prayer is not enough. I pray, but the opportunity is not there. I've prayed. What do they give up, as I was just saying. Number two, peer pressure. Drugs.
Drugs, addictions.
Addiction. There is something that I've been trying to do research. Competition. Competition
among young people.
These people, they want popcorn miracles. What it has taken you many years, they want it so fast.
Quick fix.
Quick fix. And that's why we are engaged in betting, we are engaged in everything. And right now, as so long as it's something they are able to get, it doesn't matter how they will get it. So that also should be addressed. It's something I just, doing my own research, I said, if we don't deal with the spirit of competition, not just only with the youth, even us, even if it enters the pastoral, competition is a spirit. If you don't use it well, you can use it either positively or negatively. So, peer pressure, drugs, among others, are what is challenging these people. Another thing, most of the opportunity to study. Some, they didn't get that opportunity. And you know, when an axe is not sharpened, much effort is used. So they need the opportunity, an equal opportunity. And I like the CBC thing, if it is implemented well, that people are able to get an opportunity. Maybe you didn't study that much, but you are able to use the gifting that God gave you. And the CBC is just God. So he says a gift in a person shall pay. That is CBC.
Thank you so greatly. You're watching Career 360, and our subject of discussion is youth and the church, very integral in our society. Now, Cityscope TV is launched, Cityscope Training Institute, a tertiary registered institution that is focused towards training professional courses. In Cityscope Training Institute, we offer courses ranging from business courses to media courses, as well as ICT, and that is Information Communication Technology. If you wish to join any of those courses, reach out to us in the comment section and tell us which course you'd wish to pursue. You also reach out to us, can as well call us if you need any kind of career guidance, and counsel will be available to add this to you. Your education is our pride. We are still on this discussion very much, and I love the proactive response that this is what I really wanted, because I represent young people, and I would desire to receive a very concrete response from you, because when we are discussing together with them, we give them also concrete answers.
Yes.
And so, help us to know. He is a very strong religious leader, and that is Reverend Odongo. He is engaged in mentorship young people, very much compassionate in regards to raising up young people. You can always connect with him in social media links. Tell us your social media links. We want to follow you.
Probably if you want to follow the church, you can follow us on RGC Cathedral of Worship. That is a YouTube. And if you want to reach me via my Facebook, Theonest, Ernest, you will find me there, and God will bless you. And may the Lord God do you good. Youths, we love you, and we pray for you, and we know that a better today, not tomorrow, is coming.
Yes. Now, does the church does the church sometimes fail to address real issues affecting young people?
And we have failed a lot. I'm saying we have failed.
Yes.
I'm owning the
you take the accountability.
I'm taking the accountability.
Yes.
I'm taking the accountability.
So you failed.
I've failed. You know, as I mentioned, when my bishop asked if there are 35 years and above pastors in this congregation, rise up on your feet. When he asked that question, I thank God I have young pastors. I had not gone with them, and I'm encouraging them. As we are talking today, this week is our youth week. On Wednesday, youth was preaching, and I was seated there, and I was saying, amen. She really preached well. Actually, I can say she preached more than me, because the graces they did differ. And I said, wow. So how have we failed? The question is, do we give them an opportunity?
Providing a platform for personal development.
Or we see a competitor? That is number one. Number two, are we able to accommodate them with their weaknesses? Because even as we were accommodated, all of us, we are sick, going for treatment in the church. It's just some of us tumekula hizi antiviral mapema to boost, lakini sisi wote ni wagonjwa. So let's give them an opportunity. Let us tell them that when I came in, ni hii kitu ilikuwa imenitandika, lakini nilipopewa hii ARV ni ikanisukuma, saizi ninakaa niko strong. So let's give them an opportunity. Let's encourage them in their weaknesses, and this one goes to them. When we are mentoring them, tukiwakemea wakemeeke, atuwa judge.
That's true.
Yes. So we have failed. Some we feared, and sometimes we want things to be done perfectly, and we fear to give them an opportunity because they will mess. You fear if he's preaching and the visitors come and he messes, what will happen? And as we were entrusted, I remember my bishop will give me an opportunity to preach during lunch hours, and I would mess. And he will call me and he said, it's not supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be this way. So I think let's work together. And I want to encourage my community, my WhatsApp group pastors, the age. By the way, today is my birthday. Look, now let's not fear these people. Let's walk with them. One thing I've decided, I want to mentor many youths, because sometimes we want grown-up pastors and we are growing all together. Who will take over? So right now I've resolved to give the youths an opportunity. They will preach on Sunday while I'm seated. They do. But I want to actually continue giving them that opportunity. I want to advise them to launch in business, to try things that they have failed. I want to work with them. So I want to encourage a pastor there who's been fearing the youth. Probably they might not be there, but let's walk the journey together. Yes.
Now, I love the methodical approach you use. I would define it as a much transformative model of leadership, whereby you create a platform for them to learn. Of course, you give them a platforms to also exercise their gifts. That also gives them also a sense of lots of engagement. That is very great. And I am grateful that you've discovered these secrets. Many feel disengaged because they are not given a platforms of engagement. And so my question comes, if you've had young people in the church the whole year, they're just seated listening to you, they are not given any kind of a platform. That's why we've been having divisions.
Yes.
Because here we are working together with you. I'm a young person. I feel the fire of God. I feel to test the microphone.
Yes.
And I'm not seeing this microphone coming.
Yes.
The following day, I'll just build my home just close to your door.
It's happening.
Yes.
It's happening.
It happens.
Yeah, what you are saying,
Yes.
I am agreeing with you.
Yes.
There is something that I began. I'm just trying to share the few nuggets that have helped us. Instruments that are expensive for the church. And sometimes these are what we use. something came into me. This is from COVID time. I said, let me open a room, a door in our church during COVID, for instead of these young people going out there or they are just sleeping, some ideas will come in them which might not be good. And I decided I began to train them. I got a teacher would pay, I remember I would pay the teacher 5,000 per week whenever I have it. And I began to bring youths in groups to teach them. I began with the drum set. Guess what? Our son who is playing the drums today, that is our biological son, Favor, was among the group that I trained. Right now is a blessing to the church. And from there I opened a door. Listen to me, even this evening, if you come to our church today, you will find youths. And I opened a door not just for our church, but in the denominational. And right now, they have come with a group. You will find them practicing with the guitars there. Every evening they are doing their rehearsals, practicing. Yesterday they were telling me that you need to pray with us. We just want to come up with the band. And these are different churches. Now, when we went home, we drove with my wife. We left even our sons in the church. And they came late. And I was telling my wife, I prefer my son to come late from the church than to come late from a casino somewhere. So due to that, I've seen people, we have youths who are just coming, they come and they say, I'm interested. Another lady just told me now I want to learn the bass guitar. And why is this happening? I've given an opportunity. I know it is costly to give your instruments as a pastor. Sometimes they mess them, but somebody is growing, is maturing. This person, they feel at home because they have a place where they are doing their thing.
That's a great investment. Of course, that's that's a challenge to some of the leaders not to adopt the selfish method of really mentorship. They will need platforms in order to engage the results. Now, I can't forget to write because we are living in a very hard economic times.
Yes.
And we also have, we are also living in a season where there's a lot of peer pressure that cause negative influence large for people. How do you address this?
Now, I will say this thing. Number one, we have to go back home. These problems, we will not actually blame them on others. Number one, I begin with the parents. The upbringing will also contribute to how we are. The influence. Sometimes we blame our youths. I've sat down with many youths, and sometimes some will fight even in the church from teenage. And when you try to talk to them, you will hear this training, they see it from where? From home. So when we talk about peer pressure, we are talking about what they learn from seeing more than what they learn from what they are told. Okay? It is an influence. So the peer pressure, before we talk about this other youth influencing my son, how have you influenced your son? As a father. How have you influenced your daughter as a father? How have you influenced your daughter as a mother? How have you influenced your son as a mother? No, when we talk about peer pressure, we have just switched this blame to their friends. Peer pressure, also what they see at home, will always pressure them.
I love that.
Yes. So it is something that number one, I just want to give a testimony. one of them, our eldest son, at Form 2, he began to smoke kitu kubwa at school. And this one, he always thanks God for me. Now, sometimes the father will not be there. I'm the one who will go to school to talk on his behalf. It happened until it was expelled. And the mother, I would talk and talk. And the mother, there was a day the mother said, Pastor, you've been praying for my son, but you've never anointed him with oil. Maybe if you anoint him with oil, this spirit will break. And remember, it is something inherited from it is a genealogy altar. It's addiction from back home, though even their elder parents that are doing that. Now, that day, I don't know what came into me. You will forgive me. I had prayed, I had talked with this young man, I would walk with him. And this day I did something that even sometimes I sit down, I said, what came into me? And I remember they came in our house and I said, oh, let me go and get anointing oil. I want to anoint you, to pray for you, though, so that I rebuke this demon. I'm talking about dealing with the peer pressure. Yes. So when I went in the bedroom, I had my small kawaya, kiboko kidogo. Mzazi unakuanga kidogo ya kurebuke. Mapepo ingine sio tu ya kurebuke. Unachapa. Sio kupunish, kudiscipline. There is a difference between punishing and disciplining. Tungechunwa. Now, so I came out and I came with a bottle of anointing oil. And I said, now I want us to close our eyes. I want us to pray. And I told my wife, she was there. When she come, ask her. And even the mama, if you want, I can tell you. This boy was informed too. And I said, let's close our eyes. We want to pray. And nikatoa waya. And wakasikia imeingia kwa mgongo. Mtoto akalia hii, wakafikiria amekuwa possessed. Manifest. Ana manifest. So nilimpea waya ngapi? 3. We are dealing with peer pressure. Have you ever read this scripture where Jesus is saying some like this needs prayer and fasting? Meaning there are some that do not need prayer and fasting. That's according to me. Okay? So,
let's stop there. Let's stop because we are going to break this conversation.
I'm stopping.
Yes.
To cut the story short.
Yes.
When I finished, the boy did Form 4 without smoking that thing. And right now he has his certificate. We are believing God for him to leave this country.
Amen. Now
I would pray. So I dealt with the peer pressure. I'm not advising anyone to use that, but it helped. I've stopped.
My goodness. Of course, this every parent have their own models in terms of disciplining children. And so, do engage a model somebody else uses. Thank you so much for disclosing that thing to us. Of course, there are things that are very spiritual. And if you don't deal with them spiritually as you are led, they cannot come out.
Yeah. So peer pressure, sorry to cut you, it just needs dialogue. We talk and we reach a compromising point.
Yes.
That somebody has to say enough is enough. Yes.
Now, of course, do you think the church should address the controversial topics like talk to sex, health, and relationships?
Actually, we need to preach it. It should be a message.
It should be a message. Yes.
We are avoiding this I don't know how to call it, giant.
Yes.
But our media today, what they are bringing, they don't hide it. You see your child, your son with the phone in a bedroom. They watch these things. So we are not in that time that we will feel, and may I put it this way, it should not just be taught in the church, even parents. I dialogue with my children concerning sex. I talk to them because during our time, you will agree with me, we will be sent to your grandfather, to a relative who is older than you, and they will talk. Right now, grandparents, some of them, they are not there. Number two, there is a disconnect. Initially, the schools will close, you are sent, go and visit. Nowadays, probably, you last when did you send your children to go and visit a relative and stay there for a month? You might not remember.
I can't.
Yes. So I think parents, we should talk to them. But pastors, this is a subject that we need to walk with these people. They should understand it. They should know. We should talk more about sex with the youths because we are preparing. As we are preparing to take over the church, let's also prepare them to take over families. We are lacking families today. Marriages are not there because we failed to handle this giant.
One of the potential parents said, how hard is it to discuss sex educations with their children, especially their daughters?
I think we just need to overcome that old mentality. Where we are living today.
Yes.
What do you think they don't know? They know. So it's rather they hear from you because if you don't talk, they will hear it and they might not hear it in a right way. Talk to them. I talk to our children. I tell them, yes, sex is a good thing. It's a good thing. It's a therapy. I don't tell them that. But if you enter in it prematurely, the consequences, they are not good. So I hope I talk, we sit down. My children, they ask questions. They ask questions. There was a time my son asked my wife a question. I'm not going to, because that is another one, we'll handle it. And I thank God I heard it and I took it from there. So I talk. I work with them. I'm teaching them at least what I know. They should not learn it from somewhere because I don't know what they will be told. So I think we should have such lessons with our youths. And youths, we are doing that. We have time with the youths and we split them depending with the age and we begin to talk these things. Because these people, you hear them discussing these things when they are alone. Even the comments, sometimes the comments that are made right now on the media, and right now the sex subject, I think it is something that the enemy also is using to ruin the destinies. Because right now, how will you are seated on a TV room and something comes in, or you are watching a Facebook and you see somebody is saying, I had sex with my father and I'm not ready to let my father go. How do you... We should not fear it. We need to tackle it. We need to... You use that to end as an entry point. And you say, no, this is not good. So if they get it from you, it will be. But if you don't, because comments, they will say, it is nice and somebody is being influenced.
Okay, that's very great. Yeah. Come on, this man is rich. His ideas are breaking the heads. I wish we would tap into this broadcast and listen to the insights of this man of God, and that's Reverend Odongo. Man of God, thank you so much. I mean, your coming, it was real time.
Thank you for
I think this is why actually you were to be given an opportunity to come back to our country and be a blessing. We need you here more than you would take your resource outside.
I really missed being home, and thank you once again.
That's a great. But now I know we're coming to close of this discussion. It can be endless discussion, I tell you. But I know, let's perhaps let me Perhaps ask this, perhaps you can wind up. How can the church empower youths to take the responsibilities in the church?
Wow. A good question.
Yes.
I think it would have not been good for us to end this subject without mentioning it. And I like the word you've used, empower. I want to say this. Prayers are not enough. We have to involve action. Faith without action
It's dead.
is dead.
I support you.
So prayer is not enough. And I'm praying that God is going to actually bless us, pastors, leaders, that we are going to actually develop a room that we will be able to teach even that things that I didn't have money to go to school. There are things that I've come to realize they need money to get them, but there are those that don't need money. For instance, I just shared what I did. When I opened a room and I negotiate with the teacher, when one teacher comes to handle 10 students in a session, in one session, it costs less money than taking this child direct to a music, which is good when money is there. I'm just saying I'm doing at least the possible and leave the impossible to the Lord. So that is a room that I open for them. And due to that, there is somebody who is playing a guitar. There is somebody, I'm praying to God. I was believing God now to take it if I can get many. Remember, I'm just using what we use in the church. I'm believing in God to just have separate instruments that I can use this because I don't charge them to use. I've opened. And many parents are celebrating because they say, my children, they just stay in your church. I met with the parent. I met with the parent. I've been seeing children in our church. I've never seen their mother and their father in the church. So I met this lady with the sons. And they rushed to me, Pastor, how are you? And we are good. This is our mother. And I was asking the lady, you mean you are not there? No, I go to another church. But my children, they said that is their church.
Yeah.
Now, the influence, what made them to come? I opened a room for the instruments. So when they come, they feel they're at home. Number two, I'm saying in terms of handing over mantle, because whether we like it or not, age is catching up with us. We will not be doing this thing forever. We will reach a point that we will be giving counsel. And the more you train many people, the more you will rest. If you want to die, ukibeba hii Biblia, utakufa tu. So let's create an opportunity, as I said. I thank God with the Redeemed. I don't know others, but I'm talking about Redeemed. Redeemed, there are conferences like in August, we had a big conference in Uruma that was accommodating over 4,000 youths. And it was not just preaching, they were being taught life issues. Not just preachings. And imagine those children 1 week boarding in Uruma Redeemed Gospel Church. When they came out, we are seeing the results. So let's create up things. I thank God for what you are doing. I think you are open-handed. If I can call you and you come and talk with them, because you will be talking, this is your thing. So if I will not lose it to call an afternoon meeting after the service, and I tell my youth, please, I want you to remain. We have Dr. Saoke. He has something to share. I'm telling you, the seed will plant in these people. people, it will bring change. So it is not just about money. We can do something, and we can use the resources, and we have great people like you who by God's grace, you have experience. If we utilize, and I'm not just campaigning for you. I want to talk to the pastors. This man is a vessel, is a tool. We can use him to sharpen our youths. Call him, and God will bless you, because he's a career man, he's a man of God, and he is closer to the youths, and we will be blessed. I think that is what I can say.
Thank you so much for the high esteem comments. I'm very grateful for those words. Now, what's the future of the youths and the church in years to come?
The future, we have woken up, number one.
Yes.
We have realized our mistakes, number two.
Yes.
We have repented, number three.
Yes.
And now we are decided. Actually, this is an announcement that it was made by our presiding bishop, because he was in the meeting. And we are vowed to give it all to the youths. Because where we are going, we might lack a church. We might lack a pastor who will take over. So this thing of muna recycle like government, unakuta tunaambiwa vijana ndio viongozi wa kesho, alafu unaona wanachukua jamaa amezeeka hata kupanda stairs ni ngumu, anapewa opportunity. We should not copy that as a church. We thank God for the experience, and just a scripture in 1 Samuel chapter number 1:25, okay, 24 downwards. Imagine Eli was able to give an opportunity to Samuel when he was still a child. And he was able to mentor and to tell him, ukisikia anakuita, useme sema na mimi. He mentored this young man. And this young man was willing also to learn. So it is a two-way traffic. Let the youths be willing to be mentored. And let the leaders mentor them. I'm praying that the fatherhood and the sonship will come back in the church. And let's not fear the youths. And we will make it.
Great, and thank you so greatly joining this kind of very interesting conversation on the topic youths and the church. Are you a youth? If you are, get to know. You are a resource, and we need to invest in you, and the church needs you much more. Now, your takeaways and call to actions, of course, perhaps, what message would you like to leave with both the youth and the church?
Yeah, to that youth who is following me, I began serving God when I was a teenager, and it is possible. And I just want to encourage you that you are able to do it. Just give yourself, be open to rebuke, be open to teaching, develop a teachable spirit, and you will be there. And number two, please, let's know that righteousness and purity will never be exchanged with anything. So as much as we come to the church, these are our values. Let's follow them. And we can make a church a better place to be. To my fellow leaders, I know we have lived in fears. Sometimes you look at this person and you fear, where will the church go? But let's give them an opportunity. Let's walk the journey together. Let's teach them. Let's sacrifice. Let's admit that all of us, we are weak and we just depend on God's strength. And tomorrow we will have a powerful church. Let's develop the heart of Paul when he's talking to Timothy. I'm praying that the present leaders, we are going to mentor so many Timothys that the church will not fail because we did mentor. Thank you.
It has been a very exciting discussion on the topic youth and the church as an integral sections with a mandate towards contributions towards the society. We've been very grateful for you joining this conversation. And Pastor, thank you so much for your rich insights and contributions.
Thank you for having me.
We will extend our invitations to you again. That seat is for you this year. So please consider to receipt on it.
Thank you.
Much more and more. On behalf of Cityscope, we wish to take this opportunity to appreciate you, all our viewers who've been following us online as well. Thank you so much, and have been your host, Nicholas Sauke. And my host?
I'm Reverend Theonis Todonga, as I mentioned, serving with the Redeemed Gospel Church Utawala. If you are in those vicinity, send your youths. Actually, this week is our youth week, and there are things that are going to happen on Sunday. Come and listen to your fellow youth preaching, praying for people, rebuking other youths, and mentoring other youths as they work together. God bless you.
Thank you so much for watching. See you next week at the same place, at the same time. God bless.